he called me. All of a sudden, my cameras went dead. They come in my house, ransacked this place, broke also. They unplugged my refrigerator, man. Yeah, I've had a fun couple days. Yeah, had the police. I'm not going to obviously get into it too much because this is a very ongoing ordeal. But I had the police come and raid my house the other day. They showed up Wednesday initially, and there was a complaint about shooting. I guess a noise complaint about shooting, which is nonsense. We don't have a noise ordinance out here. This is that someone had called complaining that there was shooting going on. It was loud. I immediately went into sovereign citizen mode. I was like, well, this is there's no noise ordinance here. There's no noise ordinance here, is there? He's like, no. He's like, your bullets could hit a ricochet and hit a house, though. I was like, but they didn't. And he's like, no, they didn't. And I was like, okay, well, so there's not a crime. So what are you guys doing here? They're like, well, we're just wanting to make sure everything's safe. And I was like, well, is there anybody saying that it's unsafe? No. I was like, oh. I just kept like, I don't know why you're here. What are we doing here? There's no crime, right? They're like, well, they could hit whatever. And I'm like, shooting in a safe direction. I know, I've lived out here my whole life. I know where all the houses are. I know how to shoot in a safe direction. No one's saying that I'm being unsafe. Why are you here? And kept asking about like what kind of guns I had, and he's asking if I was shooting, and I said I didn't answer. I was like, people shoot out here sometimes. Asked what kind of guns I had, and I was like, there's guns over here sometimes. Incidentally, yeah, and I've had my felony expunged, so I'm a legal gun owner right now. Yeah, a lot of people were shooting. There are some new people that have been moving in, and so this is a crazy thing. So he mentions to me, he was like, I was like, I don't know, there's some new people that built real big, nice houses on this road. He's like, yeah, we got a lot of new people coming in, and there's a lot of businesses coming into Brandenburg. He's like, we don't want any assholes around here. This is what he says. There's a lot of businesses coming in. I'm just wanting to make sure there's no assholes around here. I was like, buddy, I'm not the asshole. I'm the guy that goes and helps I help all my neighbors. I'm really polite. I'm not shooting at night. It's like during the daytime in reasonable hours. What do you do? But that businesses thing, they did this back in the 90s, incidentally. So you don't remember this. You weren't around at that time. But in the 90s, they started trying to clean this county up. It was a lot of poor people that lived here, a lot of old farmers that had small, they didn't have money. They just had like little small farms, 50, 100 acres, something like that.
Clean it up. And, I know what that means.
Yeah. So back in that day, the best lawyer in the county happened to be the uncle of the prosecutor in the county. And the prosecutor passed a eyesore ordinance for the county the same year that his uncle opened a realty company. So the nephew would go around, and like these old farmers have old tractors or cars sitting out there. They would get all sorts of fines thrown on these guys' property for the property taxes. All these old farmers were losing their farms, and they were getting bought up by the realty company that his uncle owned. And they made a mint doing this. And I think this is just kind of phase two. They just built a giant steel mill up in Brandenburg. There's all sorts. Brandenburg is blowing up. There's all sorts of new businesses going in. Oh, it's huge. It's crazy. There's a lot of money coming into this county right now. And I think there's a concerted effort to push out the people that don't fit the bill for what they want the place to look like right now. And I guess that includes me. But yeah, so he comes out, says something about noise, and
they're gentrifying Meade County. Huh? Wow, that's pretty crazy, man.
Meade County. Yeah, I mean they've driven like all the poor people have basically gotten kicked out and live like kind of in the far western part of the county, like Battletown, Painville, Wolf Creek, if you remember those areas.
Oh yeah.
Anywhere else, Flaherty, Vine Grove, Brandenburg, it's all like $250,000 to $350,000 houses now, which, houses are more expensive, but they're all like nice 2-story houses, all being brand new, all built within the past 10 years. There's not enough poor people, not enough trashy people. Those are my people. But
I know that was the fun part of Meade County. I mean, we're gonna ruin it, man.
And it's all suburbs out here now. Anyway, so he comes out.
Who was it? Was it the sheriff's department or was it the?
It was two sheriff's department.
Okay,
two sheriff's department. They come out, do the whole thing, and I'm not answering their questions, and they're like, well, why aren't you telling? I'm like, because there's no reason for me to answer questions. You're out here over nothing, right? There's no complaint of any crimes happening, right? So what are we doing here? And the guy asked me for his ID. I was like, I'm not giving you my ID. And he was literally taken aback. Like he recoiled from me in horror when I said I wouldn't give him my ID.
Do you know who I am?
I was like, look, man, I was like, you already know my name. You already know who I am. I don't need to give you my ID. There's no reason for me to do that. There's no complaints against, no real complaints. Someone complaining is not a legal complaint. Yeah. And he was like, is this your truck? I was like, yeah. And he's like, I'm going to call the tag in. I was like, do what you want, man. But I'm not giving you my ID. I got a freaking bug on my microphone.
Probably got one in your microphone now, buddy.
Probably. Yeah. Yeah, probably so. So anyways, be quiet, Scott. Scott's over there laughing at that. Anyways, so the next day, I call the sheriff. And I go up there to the sheriff's department, sat down with the sheriff in his office.
Oh, you went up there the next day?
I went up there the next day, and I was like, hey, man, like, what's going on? Why? And basically, so I told the cops, I was like, look, this property's posted no trespassing. I don't want you all coming out. I told the cop, I was like, I don't want you all coming out here over nothing.
Poking the bear, buddy.
Well, he's like, well, if we get a complaint about somebody hitting a house, I was like, if you get a complaint about somebody a bullet hitting a house and you have reason to think it was me, come on out. But I don't care to hear that somebody thinks it was loud. That's not a crime. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't want to be bothered about that. And I went up to the sheriff the next day and I talked with him about it. I was like, look, man, this was kind of nonsense what happened the other day. I don't want these guys coming out for nothing. He kind of went through the same thing. He was like, well, bullets can ricochet. I was like, yeah, but that's not what was being said. It was just somebody was upset that it was loud. And he ended up like, he seemed to be in agreement. He's like, I'm a big Second Amendment supporter and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, cool. Well, tell your guys that I don't want to be bothered. If there's a real crime happening, you can do what you want to do. But otherwise, you got my number. If somebody calls complaining, you can give them my number and you can call them. They can call me as a neighbor and just talk to me. If they got their kids outside between the hours of such and such, cool. I won't bother you. It doesn't matter to me. I won't shoot at that time. Yeah. Then 2 days later, I leave. I pass the cops like a couple roads up, the same ones coming towards my place that had seen me the other day. I was like, what the hell, man?
The same sheriffs?
The same two sheriffs. Yeah. The same two sheriffs. I've been stressed. I'm smoking. I know it's awful. I see them. I pull over. I pull up. I have an app for my security camera set up. Pull over, pull up the camera. Then I get a call from a neighbor who's very, I guess, vigilant of the road. And he tells me, he's like, hey, man, them cops just went by again. I was like, I know. And I'm sitting there looking, and all of a sudden, they didn't pull up with their vehicles. I see them like doing a pincer move. Like one of them's going in the woods over here, one of them's coming this way.
On foot?
And they come around. Huh?
Oh, okay, I understand what you're saying.
Well, my house is like back in the woods, and there's just a little trail that goes to it. Yeah. So I see them walking up the trail, and then they like split off, and one goes this way and one goes that way.
Were they making tactical moves, like tuck and roll?
Oh yeah, they had assault rifles, man. They had ARs with them. That's what they were carrying. AR-15s. Yes. Oh yes. And so I called my neighbor back. I'm like, hey man, they're there. Like run over there, see what the fuck they were doing. And I sat there, I watched them. I'm recording them. And then I'm like, what the fuck is, and I call the sheriff up. This is Saturday. I get online. Of course, I call the office. Nobody's there. And I get online. I find his home number. And I call, and I guess it was his wife or something picked up. And she's like, oh, he's outside getting the lawnmowers going or something. I was like, all right, well, I've got an issue. Could you have him call me back? And then like 5 minutes later, I get a call from an unknown number, and it's the deputy that's out here at my house.
Right.
And he goes, yeah, he's off duty today. Can you come out here? I need to speak with you. No, that's not happening. But yeah, they come here and I'm watching them. It was shortly after he called me. All of a sudden my cameras went dead. But yeah, they come in my house, ransacked this place, broke also. They unplugged my refrigerator, man.
That is pretty low.
They unplugged my refrigerator. Like, I had a bunch of food in there I had to throw out. It was
Cocksuckers, dude. Oh my
yeah,
God.
just destroyed stuff.
Well-
took my laptop. Took my camera. Took my camera
Your DSLR?
that I was using to my DSLR. They took the DVR for my security system, and of course, there were some guns here. They took the guns. Other things I probably shouldn't talk about because nothing crazy. Like,
they had a search warrant, huh?
yeah. They left the search warrant. They didn't leave why. They just left 3 pages of stuff that they stole. Like at the top, it was at the top of the page. It was hereby ordered, had the judge's name on it, the date, and it was like to seize all the above described things at the property, and then he wrote in pencil below all the stuff that was taken from here.
What was the date on the judge's signature?
I think it was.
Was it after Wednesday?
Yeah, it was either that morning or the day before.
Interesting. So they came to your house for the complaint, and then they got the warrant afterwards.
Yeah, I think that the first thing was kind of bullshit. I've got I won't get into it on here right now, but I think that they were. I mean, basically, what it comes down to, it seems like they think that I'm a felon still.
That's what it. Yeah, that lines up with the timing.
So
for sure.
yeah, I actually filed for the paperwork last year for the expungement, and the judge signed it last year. But of course, as with everything, you have to pay expungement fees and blah blah blah. And I just paid off. It was like $700 or something. It wasn't that much, but I had just paid off my expungement fees like 2 months ago. And I talked to the woman at the court clerks. I was like, "Is this it? This is all I owe, right?" She's like, "Yeah, this is all you owe." And I was like, "Okay, here's the money." And I was like asking how long it takes to get everybody to get their paperwork. And she told me like a month. And I was like, "Okay, well, whatever, I just want it to be done." But I've got the it's signed by a judge. The piece of paper saying that my felony was expunged, read through it multiple times. It says expunged. It has those, all the charges I was convicted of, with my felony conviction. But it seems like that's what it was. They, I guess, literally didn't get the memo that I'm not a felon. I think that they had already suspected that, or maybe a neighbor that knows that I'd gotten arrested told them, "Yeah, he's over there shooting all the time and he's a felon."
That's what it sounds like. Yeah, some nosy neighbor.
Yeah, and then they come here on that. I think the first time they actually came here about the noise complaint, I think that they were just trying to get me to, I think they were prying to see if I would admit that there were guns here.
Right.
And then once I said, and I didn't really say it, but I said, like, there have been guns here, people bring guns here. I think that gave them the, whatever you would call it, to go get the search warrant to come in here and steal everything. So
I guess you got a phone call to make tomorrow, buddy.
I have already called the DUI guy.
Have you talked to a lawyer?
Well, of course they do it on Saturday, so you can't get a hold of any lawyers.
Well, yeah, that's the idea.
That is the idea, isn't it?
Well, they want to lock you up, and that way you can't see the judge till Monday to get bail. That's why they do it.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I've been down that road before.
Yeah.
But
they took your sword, huh?
They took my sword.
You're allowed to have swords. There's no. I mean, you can't just.
I'm allowed to have a laptop.
Yeah. What do they just take what they want?
Yeah. Well, I think I think the reason they took the security system and all that, like, I guess me calling the sheriff and then the cop calling me back, I'm assuming that they knew, and then also the neighbor coming over, I'm assuming that they figured out that, like, oh, I'm watching you on the security cameras. They got upset about that. But dude, I'm honestly,
it's so crazy.
Maybe I'm being paranoid, and I've got a damn good right to be paranoid, but I wonder if somehow or another, maybe when they were looking me up, because this was right after we released that podcast where I talk about how much I hate cops.
Which one?
And yeah. But yeah. So I wonder if when they were maybe looking me, I don't know. I know, like, they'll get on and look at Facebook to see if you got pictures of yourself with guns on there, stuff like that.
I guarantee you that's what happened. What do you think these sheriffs do all day, dude? You went up to the sheriff's department, fucking Brandenburg. All they do is sit around, drink coffee, and talk shit all day. So as soon as you showed up, they had some excitement. They're like, we're going to look this guy up. Saw your Facebook feed. Probably saw some video of you talking bad about the police. And they said, oh, we're going to find something on this guy. We're gonna find something.
Probably.
And I don't.
They've literally got nothing on me. There's literally nothing.
I understand that, but the problem is they just take your shit and you're not going to get it back. Like, there's no way to get your shit back. That's what happens. You know what I mean? I mean, by all rights, they have to give you all your shit back. But, you know.
Yeah, well, you know, this is why it's important to get a lawyer. You know, a lawyer can usually take care of this kind of stuff.
It's just going to cost you. That's the problem.
It's going to cost you, yeah. But
cocksuckers, dude.
Yeah, I don't know. Just thinking of Trent Reznor right now. To quote him, that "Hey pig, yeah you, hey motherfucking pig, all black and blue." Poetry.
They're supposed to be out there shooting black people. What the fuck are they messing with us for, Tony?
Gee, they've already shot them all. There's none left. I told you they were getting rid of the undesirables in Meade County. Put some signs up in Louisville to direct them down here. Give the cops something to worry about.
Well, keep us updated, man. Let me know if I need to make T-shirts.
Yeah.
Free Tony shirts.
GoFundMe.
Yeah.
I started a GoFundMe on my felony conviction or my felony charge.
Huh.
When I got in trouble, yeah, I was like, I started this GoFundMe, fight the oppressive drug war, or something like that.
Sheriffs are the sheriffs in Brandenburg elected? Are they elected officials or? That's
sheriff
shit.
is like it is the highest elected judicial position you can hold.
I'm assuming the district attorney can still. I mean, the district attorney can still go after them if they execute some sort of misconduct. I would hope. I don't know. I don't know how that works, man.
Yeah, it just comes down to money.
Just kick your fucking door and steal thousands of dollars worth of shit.
Oh, speaking of that, they took some money from me too.
Of course.
I had some not crazy amount of cash, but a good amount of cash out here in $100 bills, like in a rubber band that I had pulled out. I just had my driveway put in. It's a pretty long driveway. Gravel's expensive. And I had, of course, they took all of it. Took my change. They wrote down how many nickels they took from me.
Oh, they actually wrote it down correctly?
Yeah. Surprising. There's some things they took that they didn't write down. I've been trying to compile a list. My external hard drive that I was using for my laptop, that was not on the list. Yeah. So I don't know. I guess they're going to get a kick out of me doing me cutting down cedar trees and finding morels when I get on there. You could tell they took glee in tearing this place apart and destroying stuff. Like they just dumped a bunch of trash out beside my couch. I had like a cup that was had some cold coffee in it. They just kicked it over in the floor.
They're so fucking self-righteous, dude. They're so self-righteous. They think they are just the fucking God's gift to the earth, you know.
They're
thin blue line.
Just mad because I had the audacity to say I don't want to be bothered if there's not a crime happening, and to invoke my rights to not talk to them and not deal with them. Hey man, I don't want to deal with your shit. What are you bothering me for?
Yeah, but it's like
seems like a pretty reasonable.
What you did, Tony. That's like going to the mafia and complaining that they're like shaking you down. You know what I mean? Like you're poking the bear there, buddy.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I am a reasonable guy. And I make the mistake of thinking that other people are reasonable. I think that I can talk to people on a human level because he's a guy, just like I'm a guy. And I would hope that I stupidly think sometimes like I can break through and I'm just going to talk to you on a personal level, say, hey, I don't want to deal with this. If there are any problems, people can just come to me. If there's a neighbor I'm bothering, they can talk to me. But, I just don't want to be bothered in general with nonsense complaints and calls. It's stressful having to deal with cops pulling up your driveway, and it seems very reasonable to me. But who am I? Just a felon, an awful felon.
Death sentence.